Hi there, guys. So, as you know, yesterday I uploaded a video and I was talking about weather. During that video, I had sort of a brain fog where I couldn't, put forth my ideas and thoughts into the topic that I chose. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to resume onto the weather topic and I'm going to try to elaborate from there on and actually try to give meaningful opinions and something that's actually worthy of listening to. So when it comes to weathers, like I already mentioned yesterday, most part of it. So of course here in the UK, the weather's just been going up and down, like late 20s to 30 degrees. And at the moment, it's slightly getting better, of course. It is midday. Yesterday was warm and the last few days as well. But today, the weather app actually said around 20 degrees or so. So I thought it was going to be cold, but I actually stepped outside early morning and I went to get a coffee and it was sort of around, I'd say 16 degrees to 17 degrees. So it wasn't actually like the peak 18 to 19 degrees the app said, for the day. So it was still all right weather, and I realized a lot of the cold weather that I used to feel, definitely like chilly, shivering and all that. So that's around 15 degrees, 15, 16 degrees or 14 degrees. Like I'd never step outside with a t-shirt. But I've started to actually wear t-shirts in weathers that I would never consider it, like I said. So there's a reason for that. I realized in the last few months, of course, I've been dealing with the anxiety, and the more I'm starting to not desensitize, but just to reteach my brain that, you can be just as calm and relaxed as other people, if not more. And the more I've, done that and, sticked with the plan and journey, I realized that, you can stay calm in situations where stress and issue was more prevalent. And you can keep your cool. And this applies to, like, if anything was to make me feel discomforting, like the wind blowing right now, like the wind is actually blowing right now, usually I'd just, disassociate and I'd shiver, I'd bundle up and I'd hide from it. But I started to take cold showers, and that's of course advised from my trainer, my coach, and that's shown a lot of positive changes in me. Like I can withstand more colder temperatures now, and I've built sort of a resilience to the proper cold weather and weathers that I definitely thought I would never be able to withstand in a t-shirt, for example. So that's, of course, a difference within me when it comes to the cold weather and the warmth and things like that. But there's another sort of factor involved as well. And I'm not focusing on myself now. So now I'm talking about the larger population here. Something that I've noticed in my years of living in the West is, of course, I've lived in it my whole life. But in the sense, I was looking at people from, the native people to the Europes here, Scandinavia where I was born, and Britain here. A lot of people find the cold weather a lot more tolerable than people that migrated from the East and Africa and things like that. So I always wondered how that's possible. Like, why is it that when it comes to, like, say, 10-degree weather, you'll find a lot of the native people here, the Britons, so the white people, they can actually withstand the cold weather a lot better. And, it just seems like they've unlocked some sort of a superpower. But then again, if you actually look at both sides, the darker skinned people and the Asians and the Africans, they can withstand the heat. And on top of that, their skin is in a darker complex. The hotter it is, not being racist here, but the lighter you are, the way it works is, at least to my understanding is, of course, like darker fabrics attract more heat. And, when you're a darker complex, I believe you will be feeling the heat more. But skin-wise, certain skins are evolved to withstand the sun rays and, not be affected. But feeling the heat sense, I think, the lighter you are, the less you'll be, absorbing the sun rays, if that makes any sense. I don't know. But either way, these darker skinned people are a lot more, trained and have a background to, the tough weather of, the heat and just in general. So it's something that's built from, generations being exposed to, the heat, working on conditions like that. And when they come to places like the West, where it gets, very cold at times, they'll have a difficult time transitioning or even adapting at all. So for a person like me that was actually born here in the West, I, of course, am the darker toned people, and, my parents migrated. So I understand them not being able to withstand a lot of the cold here, but with time, they've, of course, developed some sort of traits to do, to adapt with the weather. And at first, I would definitely say it would be challenging for them. But for me, I was born here, so I still feel like I should be, just as like the native people here, right? Like, be able to withstand the cold as well, because I haven't seen any, the heat, or even though it's in my genes, like my parents, grandparents, and so forth, they are all accustomed to the heat. But I should still be just as a native born here, right? It's not the case. So like when it reaches like proper cold weathers, like in the winter, I can't go outside without a jacket. Even if it is around, say, like 13 degrees or so, I'll feel it like cold, And this is not something just personal. It's all my, family, friends, and all people are like me. And then you see the white Britons here, and they'll see the 13-degree weather, and they're comfortable in a t-shirt in the winter, and even less degrees. So is that something to do with the diet? Is that something to do with lifestyle? If I interlink a lot of the things, and, we all take showers and things like that, of course, but the people that are more prone and people that make it actual ritual and a habit to have cold showers are the white people and the native people here, and all Europes and Americas and all people in the West. Usually in Africa, you just use it to cool down, and even in Asia, you just literally use the cold water to cool down, so you don't make it a habit. So because I think that is a habit they perform more, and I'm not saying that's all of them, not generalizing people here, but more so the larger population, they perform these, cold showers, and they take the sort of mental sort of health precautions that are needed here, and that includes the cold showers. So I think that does build resilience over years, and on top of that, when a whole family does this and they expose themselves to the cold more and make it a norm as well. So the more, I don't know if you guys can see me here. I don't know why the contrast has dropped so much. But let me try see if I can change it a bit. But definitely, if you can see me here, I would say 100% it is something that's taught. As I can definitely see the changes, like I started to take a bit more like cold showers. I can withstand a lot more cold water and stuff. And, mental health, like getting rid of anxiety, regulating your mind and body, and being in tune with nature as well, those things help. But besides that, the weathers are changing just as we are as well. So they sort of like flip back and forth, especially here in the UK. And throughout the year, we tend to enjoy the sun when it's here, the summer and stuff. But in the winter, we only enjoy it if it snows. And that's something that as humans we can't control. Like, we like something that's right in the middle. Like when it's cold, we prefer the winter. Like right now, I will not lie to you, I'd love a cold day right now where it just snows, and I'll just see like personally how I respond to it, and just that cold again. So it's either we long for weathers that we haven't seen in a short while or a long while, or we're just so indecisive as people. But anyways, weather-wise, it's so challenging here for someone that hasn't been in the UK. Like, it takes so long to, you know, get accustomed to the weather here. It's sunny today, tomorrow is going to be windy, the next day is going to be raining hard, and plans-wise, you're going to have to work around that and consider all factors. And you know, at the beginning, when you're new to the country, I've seen people, you know, be thrown off the weather. Like, you know, they can't make plans, they can't enjoy it, and they just start to become housebound. So that's a challenge facing the people that are coming into the country, and new people, new arrivals for holiday and so forth. But this is my little expansion and elaboration from the yesterday's topic, the weather sort of heading and topic I tried to give more about today, so sort of a part 2. But as you can see, I'm not sure why it's, you know, difficult for me to expand on this topic. You know, like, I'm talking about the different regions here, how it affects people, and how people, you know, behave in certain weathers, you know, like different ethnicities and stuff. So if you lot can give me your sort of opinions, first of all, how you see weather and how it affects you, and where in the world you'd like to actually live and, you know, enjoy that weather, that you actually think like, this is the right weather for me, like personality wise and my preference wise, this is exactly what I enjoy. And if you could, of course, help me out on here as well, like something like pointing out if you watched yesterday's video or just today's video, and let me know where I could have expanded on and how I could, of course, improve as well in the future. So these videos are still challenging for me, and it's very nice for me to share the hardest times and the most vulnerable times where it's very hard for me to articulate and just be able to, you know, make up my mind on, you know, I'm thinking of a certain thing, like I'm talking about Africa here, and then I've got in my mind, like, talk about natural disasters and, you know, how the global warming is affecting the, you know, not the promising weather, but weathers that are to come in the future that will just, you know, make things unstable and stuff. So just making my mind up between the two, you know, connecting two subjects and, you know, just staying on topic. It's all hard for me, and I'm going to keep sharing my opinions in different topics here. I don't care how awkward or difficult it gets for me. This is exactly why I started the channel. But other than that, enjoy your day. I'll end the vlog right here, and I'll make another video later on today, and I'll try to switch up as well, so it might not just be about a topic. So I might actually do a awkward releasing video again, or another sort of challenge that I might need and you lot could learn something from as well. But other than that, hope you enjoy your day. It is midweek, so make sure you stay on your plan. The weekend isn't too far now, and keep your head held high and keep pushing through the week. Take care and enjoy.